Back in 2006, we had spent a few years, Brian O'Shaughnessy, Charlie Bloom, who else am I forgetting, battling in the National Association of Manufacturers to try to get good trade policy. And we made some headlines on the currency legislation when the board of directors of the NAM overturned our membership vote to endorse the Currency Reform Act. Fred and some of his friends heard about that, the farming community and the ag community, and they said, I wonder if we can work with these manufacturers. So Fred and some of his friends invited us to Colorado Springs for a globalization conference in 2006, along with some labor people from the AFL and other places. And we wondered, is there any high middle ground? Can we really work together, bipartisan, labor, manufacturing, and agriculture, pretty unprecedented, and really come up with anything? And the answer to, is there any high middle ground, was not just yes, but hell yes. There was a lot of high middle ground, and it grew from there. But here's the role. Fred really was the leader at that point, and he said, listen guys, it can't be about you, your career, or your organization. It has to be the mission to save America, save manufacturing, save farms, save jobs, and turn this economy around. And he set the spiritual tone of this organization, and for that we're eternally grateful, Fred. God bless you.
So what Dave said, I'm just going to double down on that a moment, because one reason that folks don't get together, even though they are pointed in relatively the same direction, is it seems like they look askance, or they're not sure what the other guy's going to do, or they're going to steal members, or this sort of thing or the other. So it was really important to sort of bring the whole thing above your organization or yourself and the like, in that we are all Americans. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican or what it is, that this has to be about the country and not about your organization. So it was set the tone early on that it is not tolerated that you are jealous of your role or your organization and the like. So we appreciate that, and that has proved enduring.
Let me say one other thing before you do. Claudia, would you come up here, please? This is the other half. This is the better half of the Fred Stokes. So, in the early days, Fred and Claudia would invite all of us down to stay at their place. I had the honor of going and being their guest in their home, and they're wonderful host and host.
Thank you. We'd love for you to come back.
So we're going to give Fred, this is a really beautiful award. And this is a crystal-like award. It says it's got the CPA logo. It says a tribute to T. Fred Stokes in recognition of your outstanding vision, leadership, dedication, and patriotism as the originator and motivator of the Coalition for a Prosperous America. As its first president, you brought us together and encouraged us to respect our differences while working toward our common goals. It says, for that we are all grateful. And it's signed by our co-chairs, Joe Logan, co-chair for agriculture, Brian O'Shaughnessy, who's the chief co-chair and co-chair for manufacturing, and Brad Markell, the co-chair for labor. So Fred, thank you.
Thank you. I guess I'm supposed to say a thing or two, and I'll try not to drag it out, but this is very humbling. I'm in the stage of recovery from a bout with cynicism. I have noted that we're on a march toward a cliff, and that concerns me. I had to talk with my good friend Pat a little earlier. But this thing happened because some of us believed that it was possible for people with differing views, differing interests, to rally around the things that they believed in common, which were vitally important. And when we talked about going to Colorado Springs and having a meeting to see if we could get organized labor and manufacturing and farming to come together and to work on trade and do something about our terrible trade deficit and the divesting of ourselves of our really good jobs. People said, Stokes, all you're going to do is have a cat fight. But it wasn't a cat fight. It worked. And I have to say that Brian and Michael especially, and Dave and Charlie and Bob Johns and Bob DeMont and the others who were all party to that original effort and have dug in, and you've blossomed. There isn't any question. You're doing some vitally important things that gives me some smattering of hope that we can turn this thing around. Charlie just gave me a Sunday school lesson, and you know, I'm hopeful, but we've got unfinished work out there. If we're going to pass along to future generations the opportunity that we had for ourselves, I, for one, think that we might have lived in America's heyday. And that bothers me a great deal. But there isn't any question, without the vital work you guys are doing, there would be no hope. And I don't envy your job of going to the Hill, trying to rationalize something that makes sense to a politician. But, you know, keep at it. I'm going to take one more shot at it tomorrow myself. But I applaud you. You know, it's just hard to underestimate what you've done. No one could have expected this organization to grow. And of course, Nucor Steel and Bob Johns and that crowd, and Dan D'Amico and those people that supported and gave birth to this thing and got us going early. But Brian, you and Michael have driven this thing, and the other original board members, and you've done an incredible job, and I thank you. All I did was bring a fuzzy, pale idea to the table. Thank you so much.
Thank you.